Hello all, my name is Paul Rockenbach. I'm excited to be here today and to go over my presentation on cybersecurity, which is a comprehensive examination. A little bit about me. I've mostly over the last decade and a half I've spent in law enforcement. Just recently moved over into the federal sector where I worked as a federal agent, and my main focus is in counterintelligence and on the intelligence side. So I'll be excited to kind of talk about cybersecurity as it's a big issue. It's a big hot topic, and it's a great conversation piece and anything when it comes to national security and everything that we're learning. So I'm excited to get into this. It's 23 slides, or just right at 24 slides. So I'm going to try to keep it brief and make it just about that 20-minute length or 15-minute length. So with that said, we'll get moving on. Overview. Okay, so we're going to talk about, I did a paper on the comprehensive examination of cybersecurity. So overview page is summarizes the paper's focus on the evolution of cybersecurity, key challenges in critical infrastructure, and advanced strategies in cyber management. Not only that, but the importance of cybersecurity. We are going to highlight the increased complexity of cyber threats and the importance of robust cybersecurity measures. And they're going to talk about key areas that we're going to cover are critical infrastructure, vulnerability, cyber intelligence, economic impacts, and cyber threats. Cybersecurity is a big deal in today's world. As you're seeing just recently, all the cybersecurity threats that just came out with the cell phone coverage going down, all the cyber attacks, all these different things taking place. You're going to start seeing a big influx of that, especially with our adversaries. You're starting to see a lot of our adversaries starting to do that. You're starting to see a large push in the cyber world when it comes to AI, artificial intelligence. With artificial intelligence now, being the ability for the computer to kind of already go over already known knowledge and be able to give you a lot of data, take a lot of data and punch out a lot of information quickly. With that data, I think my biggest concern is going to be not so much the AI world and what's in AI, but I think the next biggest threat to national security that's going to lie in the cyber world is going to be quantum computing. I think when we talk about quantum computing, being able to kind of make decisions on its own. So that's a big difference between that and AI. But needless to say, we're going to go into the rest of the presentation. This is our overview. So next, welcome to the introduction. So there's a significance of cybersecurity. How important is it? Well, cybersecurity is super important. The world runs on computers, period. There's nothing we can do today without a computer. I think out of all the billions of people on Earth, there is a cell phone for something like double, or every single person has the ability to have a cell phone. I mean, unfortunately, there's been times I've carried 3 cell phones at one time. And no, I wasn't, dealing any of the narcotics out there or anything like that. But just in the world we live in, we have computers at our hands. So the significance of cybersecurity is huge. It's essential for protection against global digital threats, which are impacting national security, economic stability, and public safety. The scope of the review, extensive review from the past developments to present-day challenges and future trends. And the objective of this presentation is to inform the stakeholders and prepare them for the future of cybersecurity landscapes. So understanding the importance of cybersecurity is important, especially moving forward and as we go throughout this presentation. So, historical references and some points in cybersecurity that we need to talk about. So, evolution of threats have changed. Our world has changed, our economy has changed, the internet, the computers, the technology, everything has changed. And I want to say when you talk about the 70s, cybersecurity from the early viruses in the 1970s, to the sophisticated state-sponsored attacks today, especially when you talk about Stuxnet and all the other different cyber attacks that are world famous, all the different ransomwares, everything like that. It's every single day there's something new coming out in the world of the technical advances in this cyber world. What I'm trying to say is that there's something being created every single day that is something that is a potential threat, a potential use to either steal somebody's data, their identity, their banking information, everything. All of that is happening every day. So understanding the evolution of threats is important because technology is changing. And then there's historical events, which we're going to talk about: the creeper virus, the Morris worm, that marked key developmental and the milestones, and then the impact on security practices. These events shaped the cybersecurity protocols And with every event and everything that happens in the cyber world, we become aware of it, and all the industries are able to come up with ways to mitigate the impact of future cyber threats in the same way. So the Morris worm, which was certainly a rude awakening. In 1988, one of the first computer worms distributed via the internet, created by Robert Tappan Morris. He had an impact on cybersecurity. It highlighted the vulnerabilities of the Unix system, leading to substantial financial damage and increased cybersecurity protocols. Legacy of the Morris worm set a precedent for the importance of robust cybersecurity measures in internet-connected systems. So the rise of cyber espionage and moonlight maze in the Titan Ring. Cyber espionage in the 1990s and 2000s, coordinated attacks like Moonlight Maze and the Titan Ring targeted U.S. military and government networks to steal sensitive information. The implications of cyber espionage. These incidents demonstrated the dual nature of cyber threats, highlighting both criminal and state-sponsored dimensions, and the impact on cybersecurity policies led to the significant changes in how nations and organizations approach cybersecurity and information warfare. Well, I can certainly add in on, and I'm sure there's other students in this class and in the Liberty University program here when it comes to Homeland Security that would say that cyber espionage and cybersecurity, the impacts that are taking place is huge. There's certainly many things happening from our adversaries to us. A lot of things that we're working to mitigate. We're working to make it a better ability to stop those threats, to stop those things. There's a lot of our adversaries have made leaping advances above our own in the world of cyber. So it's important that we understand that it's going to continue to rise, and then we need to be able to mitigate it. What we need to do is be able to protect ourselves, look at the people, our biggest threat, our own, meaning it's going to be someone like us that has access to sensitive information, has access to cyber protocols that's going to leak that to our adversaries, and that's going to be our biggest vulnerabilities when it comes to our national security, which would be considered the insider threat. Stuxnet, which is a new era in cyber warfare. So discovery of Stuxnet was 2010. It marked a pivotal moment in cybersecurity when the discovery of Stuxnet, a sophisticated worm targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. Implications for cyber warfare. Stuxnet demonstrated that cyber tools can be used to achieve strategic geopolitical objectives, causing physical damage to critical infrastructure. Legacy of Stuxnet changed the landscape of cybersecurity, highlighting the potential for cyber attacks to cross into the physical world and cause substantial disruption. So, one of my big top areas that I look into, especially in my world of what I do in counterintelligence, and not only that, but in just the intelligence world and just understanding the big vulnerabilities we have. Not only that, but how can we do better, right? And that comes to critical infrastructure. I think there's going to be a whole slide on the critical infrastructure, so I'm not going to talk about it too much here. But the big thing is that we talk about it. It's important. And not only is it important, but it's a major deal when it comes to the cyber warfare. I don't think a lot of the public doesn't know that, but these large power companies, whether it's your local power company or whatever it is, they all have major cyber teams on them to protect critical infrastructure. So the proliferation of ransomware, WannaCry, and NotPetya, those were all different things that took place. The WannaCry ransomware attack targeted over 200,000 computers worldwide, exploiting vulnerabilities in Windows OS. And then the global impact of ransomware, followed by NotPetya. These attacks caused billions in damages and highlighted devastating potential of ransomware. Response and lessons led to increased cybersecurity measures and global cooperation to prevent similar future attacks. So the big thing that came out from these is the fact that the global community and the world came together and coming up with different cybersecurity measures that can help in making sure that there isn't any lone actors and or state actors that can really put a damper on the world economy or the world itself. Everybody's so interconnected via technology now, like I talked about before, that just one individual can have a disruption to so many. And it's absolutely amazing to know how many people can be affected by just one individual doing one little thing with a computer. And then there was a shift. So as we talked about earlier, there was a just previously, and now there's been a shift to large-scale data breaches, Equifax and beyond. All right, so what is everybody looking to get? They're trying to get data, and they're trying to take that data, and now with the use of AI, they can now analyze that data in a fraction of the time of what we were able to do before. So the Equifax data breach exposed sensitive personal data of approximately 147 million people, highlighting severe security flaws. All right, so why is this important? I know we talk about cybersecurity, cyber warfare. We talk about the implications of, this is such a big deal, all right? But do we ever talk about the why? So why is our sensitive personal data a big deal? All right, the reason being it's so big is that it's so easy to make fake identities and make fake bank accounts in somebody else's name, using somebody's information that they achieved, that they obtained through the internet, and really ruin somebody's life in some way. So it's so simple and such a big deal, and that's why it's so important when it comes to these data breaches. Is because people's sensitive information, meaning their social security numbers, their bank accounts, their credit cards, their families, where they live, their kids, all of that is being taken advantage of by somebody else. So somebody is racking up hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt on these individuals without them even knowing, and they're living a high life. Why these individuals don't find out for years later, and now they're having to pick up the pieces and figure out how to make a difference in the world and in their lives by dealing with such a major problem. And then there's wider implications, prompted a reevaluation of data protection strategy across industries, emphasizing the need for robust cybersecurity measures. Regulatory and legal responses led to increased regulatory scrutiny and development of stricter data protection laws to safeguard consumer information. So that is what America's doing. All right. So, but what are these third parties that you are also obtaining through apps, right? So you go on all these apps on your cell phone, you obtain whatever Candy Crush, whatever game you might play with, you to put in your personal information. You might even have to put in your bank card to buy some in-app things. Who owns that app? Is it America? Is it Russia? Is it China? Is it Iran? Is it one of our adversaries, or a top tier 1 adversary, or is it top tier 2 adversary? Is it going to be one of those individuals like that? And if it is, you are potentially in a position where a lot of your information could be exposed. A lot of your sensitive personal data can be exposed because you're playing on these apps and you don't know who owns them, and then you don't know who has access to that data. So that's another big thing, is that there's so many, and that's the thing that we're talking about in today's world when it comes to TikTok. It's a Chinese-based company. They have access to sensitive information on so many individuals within America. And now, from a national security implication or a national security side, we're looking at it as, hey, look, we have all of our sensitive information. A lot of our kids, a lot of our families, almost every citizen in America outside of myself has a TikTok, and they're using this. They're taking video. They're doing all this stuff. So, from a intelligence perspective, I don't need to use a human person. I don't need to send over a human over to that area to find out. I just go on TikTok because there's probably going to be about 4,000 videos of a specific area that I'm looking for. And then I'm able to gather all that intelligence and gather all that information just from that in itself. So not only that, but I'm able to gather information on individuals and people. It's so hard now to stay hidden, and it becomes an issue when you're looking at it from an intelligence perspective, for sure, and from a national security perspective. On to the next. So let's see. We got critical infrastructure and cybersecurity. So I talked about critical infrastructure. One of our largest and biggest vulnerabilities is going to be our critical infrastructure. You've seen years ago with the water and the water plants, when somebody had access, was able to do a cyber attack and get access to water. Water is being one of our needed resources and one of our only needed things to survive as humans. Not only that, but to survive as Americans. So we need to really take a look at a critical infrastructure. We're lacking. We are severely lacking in the security of our critical infrastructure when it comes to the cyber world. So let's talk about critical infrastructure. What is it? It encompasses sectors like energy, water, and transportation, crucial for national security and economic stability. And then cybersecurity intersection, increasing integration of IT and operational technologies raises cybersecurity risks in these essential sectors. And strategies for protection focus on safeguarding these infrastructures through advanced cybersecurity measures and international cooperation. So that's what we need to be doing. We need to be protecting it more. In all honesty, I'm actually pretty well versed on the critical infrastructure and just the things you learn when you're in work, when you work in the government, work in intelligence, is it's just mind-boggling. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't want to get too deep into it, but critical infrastructure, super big deal. I talked about electrical companies. and the vulnerabilities you have to that. Without power, can certain things take place? Can we protect certain assets, protect certain people, protect certain places without electricity? And that's something that we need to look at, something that we need to be aware of. And when you look at that, and from the cybersecurity perspective, is we need to make sure that we're protecting ourselves from that threat. So what are the challenges? So there's technical and organizational challenges, legacy systems, complex supply chains pose significant risk to infrastructure security. Interconnectivity and risk, enhanced interconnectivity increases vulnerability to cascading cyber threats across critical systems, upgrading modernization difficulty, challenges in updating security protocols due to the integration of outdated new technologies. Other problem is that we're from a consumer side of it, we've imported so much of Chinese and some other of our top tier one adversaries technology into our own technology, and then they now have access to our technology, and that becomes a problem, right? So when you look at supply chains, that's what we're talking about there, is making sure that we can start protecting our supply chains, protecting what we have and what other countries are within that. So and then some strategies, risk assessments, mitigation. We want to have regular comprehensive risk assessments to identify vulnerabilities and develop mitigation strategies. That's something we need to be doing everywhere. Not only that, but layered defense systems, implementing defense in depth strategies to protect networked resources through multiple security layers. And then we want to have incident response information sharing. We should always be doing that. And that's something that's pretty self-explanatory. Cybersecurity and critical infrastructure protection, engineering design concepts. We need to be, certainly enhancing the ability of our youth to have an interest in the STEM world, which is the science, technology, engineering, math world. I feel like that's something that we're lacking. That's in a whole nother presentation, a whole nother conversation, is to have on our education side and or the lack thereof in comparison to our adversaries. But it's important that from this aspect that we're looking at an integrated system approach, focus on robust engineering concepts that involve mitigation, resiliency, and redundancy to counter cyber threats. We need to focus on designing systems for minimal attack impacts and quick recovery processes. And then we need to have a strategic design principle, incorporates principles of secure engineering to ensure that critical infrastructure remains safeguarded against cyber threats. That is super important. We need to have a strategic outlook on most things that we do. And if we're not looking from a strategic standpoint, then how are we looking? All right, so mitigation. We're going to talk about mitigation. And that refers to the steps taken towards reducing the chances of cyber attacks while also minimizing damages if they occur. That's the biggest part of mitigation. Technology solutions for mitigation. We want to utilize advanced technologies like intrusion detection and firewalls to prevent cyber threats. We want to employ training and policies. We want to, certainly train our employees. Policy development, enforcement. We got to get better on our policies, but not so much policy, but just information sharing and communication. Resiliency. We need to maintain core functions, developing incident response plans to when something happens, and we have to have a quick way to recover. And then we have to have network segmentation, so breaking down the network resources into secured segments to prevent breaches from spreading across systems. Meaning, if they take down one system here, it shouldn't take out everything across the United States. It should just take out that one sector, and then we can get that sector back up in a fast manner by having a mitigating strategy. All right, then redundancy, data and system backups. We need to be redundant. We need to make sure we continue to back up. We need to back up safely. We need to back up often. Not only that, but we have to have standby systems. Implementing standby systems capable of seamless takeover during primary system failures. That's important. And then diverse technology platforms. Using varied technology platforms to mitigate risk associated with single points of failure. This is something that we really need to look at and understand. Cyber intelligence, conflict, and warfare. So modern conflict and cybersecurity. National security strategies now emphasize cyber intelligence, conflict, and warfare as key components in the 21st century defense arsenal. You will see that more often than ever. We're in what I consider proxy wars with so many different nations, and a lot of people don't understand it, but we're in those proxy wars through cyber. We're fighting off cyber attacks constantly into major systems within the United States, major national security systems within our United States, and we're fighting that every day. And then we're also, playing in that ball game as well. So we need to understand that. And the role of cyber intelligence, gathering, processing, analyzing information to preempt cyber attacks and secure national and corporate interest. That's super important. That's the role of cyber intelligence. That's the role of pretty much any intelligence, is to gather and process and analyze information. Then implications for international relations. We need to have a way better understanding and way better relationship and communication with international people. Cyber warfare impacts on international relations and the evolving nature of global conflicts. This is the new world we live in. Is the cyber world. Not only that, but we need to understand it, and we need to do better at playing it and playing in this game. And then we need to educate those within our in our own country on the importance and the need of cyber individuals and people that can certainly are interested in cyber to continue to play in that world, so we can be better defended as a nation. Cyber intelligence, kind of just talked about that. Those are the different. Cyber intelligence involves the collection and analysis of information that can impact an organization's cybersecurity posture. We utilize AI, we utilize all that stuff, we utilize people, everything. So cyber intelligence is huge. Cyber conflicts, they're happening every day. The nature of cyber conflict involves the use of cyber tactics for sabotage, espionage, and coercion, leveraging the anonymity and the global reach of cyberspace. Asymmetric warfare enables smaller nations or non-state actors to effectively challenge larger powers at relatively low cost. You're seeing this everywhere. Impact on national and corporate security. This is another big issue, is when they're starting attacking corporate businesses, which then affect our economy. Then not only that, but national security implications with those as well. And then cyber warfare, pretty self-explanatory. Impact on civilian infrastructure, big deal, and strategic and psychological operations. It's undermine enemy morale and decision-making process during conflicts. So it has a huge cost if it happens to us. And yes, as you guys can see, I'm already past the 20-minute mark, so I'm trying to speed this up so it's not too long and everything like that. So economic cost of cybersecurity and the future threat landscape. Current economic cost, it's huge. Reviewing the financial impacts of cybersecurity incidents, including direct attack cost mitigation, expense, regulatory compliances. When you talk about a huge attack, like what happened in 2017, 2018, just most recently in 2023, you're talking hundreds of millions, close to billions of dollars to fix and or come up with a strategy and mitigation on how to make sure it doesn't happen again. So big deal. Exploring the evolving nature of cybersecurity threats with emerging technology and associated economic implications, and then we have to have strategic implications as well. Conclusion. There's a challenge. We are facing a challenge in the cybersecurity world. Not only that, but we need to make sure that we continue to push those who are interested in cybersecurity to be educated, to learn, and to really start to look at ways that we can, as a nation, be better prepared for the cyber warfare that is yet to come. We have to have proactive strategies, emphasize the necessity for adaptability, innovation, preparedness in the face of evolving cyber threats. Highlights the expected future outlook, highlights the expected impacts of emerging technology and geopolitical dynamics of cybersecurity. So this is everything I had in our presentation. I want to thank everybody here. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your year. If you guys ever need anything from me, please reach out. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.